house in this place. I don't know if in this moment there are, but there are information.
Okay. So how much money to buy a house in Coyoacan?
10 millions?
$10 million?
10 million? No, pesos.
Pesos?
It's like maybe $1.5 million.
$1.5 million. So before there were a lot of little towns, like Coyoacan was a small town.
This moment is a big.
Now it's just big city. Okay, interesting. And was Coyoacan like the first small town where like Spanish people lived, or?
In the downtown and Coyoacan, yes.
Okay, so it's the Zocalo area and this area.
There's because this is the first house of the Hernan Cortes.
Welcome to Coyoacan, Mexico City. This is a very historic place, as this was the first center where Hernan Cortes and the Spanish set up their shop really here in Mexico so that they could overtake the Aztecs back in the 1500s. The name Coyoacan is Nahuatl for place of the coyotes. And now it's a really beautiful place. It's got a lot of colonial architecture. This here is the Fuente de los Coyotes. You got a fountain here with a couple coyotes. The Uber driver recommended that I check out the Frida Kahlo house, which unfortunately is closed today, but we can at least see the outside of it. And then also the house of Hernan Cortes. So I think mostly we're just gonna walk around and check out the cool colonial architecture and just have a nice relaxing day. Me gustaría un americano.
¿Chico o grande?
Good chico. Y también croissant de jamón y queso. Es todo. 80. So we got a small coffee and a ham and cheese croissant. So good way to start the day. This croissant actually looks pretty dank. It's got avocado, cheese, lettuce, tomato, ham, of course. So let's try this bad boy out. Not quite as dank as I thought it'd be. 6.2. It's just a little bit, I mean, it's good, it's tasty, but I kind of wish the cheese was a little more melted, and I'm not sure how I feel about the lettuce on it, honestly. This area came under Aztec rule around the 1300s, but there were people here before the Aztecs. These people are called the Tepanecas. And the Tepanecas did not like the Aztecs. The Aztecs were very brutal to them as they were taking over areas they called Tenochtitlan and Texcoco. This area near Lake Texcoco. Because the Aztecs were so brutal to these Tepaneca people, the Tepanecas decided, well, we'll let the Spaniards come in here then, and hopefully they can help us out with this Aztec problem we have. So the Tepanecas said, you can stay here in Coyoacan and you can set up basically a settlement and you can operate your conquest of Mexico from here. So it's hard to say what type of role the Tepanecas played in the history of Mexico. Who knows if the Spaniards just would have found somewhere else or another people to bring them in. But of course the Spaniards did take over the whole country, overthrow the Aztecs, and the rest, as they say, is history. Since that time, this area became known for its cantinas, and you can see one right here. That was from 1918. And it also became a bohemian art center. It was home to Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo, who lived during the 20s and 30s. And besides that, it was full of farmers and just people out here trying to tend to the land. But over time, it started to attract a wealthier class of people. To this day, a very wealthy class of people live here. I talked to the Uber driver today and he said houses here go for about 1.5 million US dollars. So very much a expensive place to live, especially for the average Mexican person. Some sort of band practice in there at what looks like a 50s bar or 50s cafe. Fascinating. The houses in this area, these neighborhoods, are barrios as they call them in Spanish. They're all 500-600 years old. We don't have history like that in the United States. We're too young of a country, but pretty cool that they got it here. So here we're at the Casa de Hernan Cortes. Hernan Cortes was an important figure in Spanish and Mexican history. He is basically responsible for the conquest of Mexico. In the 1500s, he came here, I want to say around 1528. He came here with a few boats and a few Spaniards and effectively dismantled and took over an empire, an Aztec empire with millions of people. You might be wondering, how does a guy accomplish that with so few people, so little power? And basically what happened was the Europeans, the Spaniards, brought over diseases that the American people or people living in the Americas, didn't have immunity to. They couldn't fight the disease. So smallpox, measles, things like that took out about 90% of the local population. Strangely, the Aztec Emperor Moctezuma had a premonition that a god would be coming riding a horse. Of course, the Spaniards brought horses from Europe to this area because there were no horses here before that. So immediately when Cortes got there, they thought, this is our savior. This is the god coming to help us. But of course, it was the complete opposite. This was a guy looking to conquer and control the area. Hola. Buenas tardes.
¿Se le ofrece algo?
¿Cómo?
Son áreas de gobierno esta área. No puede ingresar, caballero.
Oh, so I can't go inside? Why not?
Son gobierno, área de gobierno.
Oh, okay. Alright. Well, esta es la casa de Hernan Cortes, ¿sí?
Esta es una y la otra está acá de este lado. Donde está la calle, hay como 2 cuadras más o menos, está la otra.
Okay, gracias. Well, we can't go in, I guess, because you have to be part of the government. So he said there's another house over there, but let's go see if we can see the outside of the Frida Kahlo house. And what historical center would be complete without a wing stop? The wing experts. Señor, ¿tiene basura? Gracias.
Lo bueno es que dejé el carro más cerca ahora.
Lots of good looking food stalls and different shops. If you want a big old knife, look at your big old knife here. A lot of people selling churros around here. I'll definitely get a churro before I leave. The police presence is pretty high here, which I guess I can kind of understand. They gotta protect the wealthy, really. Really cool little buses in this area. Also, you notice here, one of the hallmarks of any historical city, Cobblestone Streets. One of the hallmarks of Latin America, almost always getting hit by cars. Nice little park in there.
No, yo te digo una cosa honestamente.
It's a nice neighborhood. Very peaceful, feels very safe. I gotta say, kind of impressed Mexico City. Anyone who thinks that all of Mexico is just so run down or impoverished, come here, come check this out. I promise you, it's gonna impress you. It's very nice. Of course, in order to live in an area like this, you gotta have the money. But if you can swing it, it's great. And then you've also got a lot of other cool things that are, you know, like really cheap food and other things that are much more inexpensive than living somewhere like in America. Over here is that Frida Kahlo Museum, or Frida Kahlo House. And like I told you, it's closed today because it's a Monday. I'm not sure what the logic is there. Seems like every touristy thing is closed on Mondays. But we're able to see the outside of it. People selling little gifts here.
Bookmarks, good price.
No, thank you. I don't need a bookmark. But yeah, not much to it. I mean, not much that we can see, at least. There's the front of it. And it's really just people taking pictures outside the door. So, Frida Kahlo was an artist during the 1920s, 30s, 40s. I don't really know much about her. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I don't really like her art, if I'm being honest. Married to Diego Rivera, another artist. I've never really been into that style of art and those artists, so I haven't looked much into them. But maybe if you guys know anything about Frida Kahlo or Diego Rivera, you can leave that stuff in the comments. I'm happy to hear about that. And maybe I will do some of my own research into it, but we'll see. There's a church called the San Juan Bautista Church right there in the middle of Coyoacan. Pretty magnificent looking church. 16th century Baroque style. I want to show you guys that, but it doesn't open until 4. It's an hour and a half from now. So maybe we'll find ourselves a dang cerveza in a cantina and then wait until that opens. All of these people are waiting to pick up their little ones from school. I remember in Vietnam, you'd see like 200 motorbikes parked outside of a school doing the same thing. Señor, ¿cuáles son los mejores cantinas para tomar una cerveza cerca de aquí?
Aquí en la esquina, a la izquierda está la plaza.
Okay, sí.
Se va sobre la plaza y alrededor está el Hijo del Cuervo, están los alcatraces, todo alrededor de la plaza, lo que quieras tomar ahí, todo es de confianza y sabroso todo.
Oh, okay, gracias.
Y bien seguro todo lo que quieras ahí, junto a la plaza todo.
Muchas gracias.
Que vaya bien, amigo.
Igual. Like I said, just go to the center of the plaza, and all of the places are really good for having anything you want, including some cervezas. So we're back here in the center and in search of a cantina. Looks like a potential place, Doña Chela. I know that chelas mean beers here. So if she's the dawn of the beers, or the Donna of beer, then maybe she knows what's up. But let's take a little, just quick walk around. That one looks like it would have been really cool, but unfortunately it's cerrado.
Sí, señor.
This looks like it could be a promising street, but it may just all be restaurants. Pero there's a place over here. I see a Heineken sign. Well. There's cerveza de barril over there. And this is like a taqueria. I want more like a bar, like just a bar. Disculpe. ¿Dónde puedo buscar barras o cantinas para tomar cerveza cerca de aquí?
Sin alimentos.
¿Sin alimentos?
Sí, mire, de esta esquina,
Sí.
de esta esquina
Sí.
a la otra calle, en el Carrillo Puerto, está el séptimo, hacia allá, está el séptimo. Cruzando el parque está la Caraca, ¿no?
La Caraca.
La Calaca.
La Calaca.
Y acá atrás de esta esquina de Nu, está lo que es el Maguey y la Coyoacan.
Okay,
Todas
so
esas son barras libres.
si yo mi español no es muy bueno. So if I go straight y la izquierda hay lugares allí.
It's correct.
Okay. And what are the names? ¿Cómo se llaman?
De este lado se llama el Maguey
El
y la
Maguey.
Coyoacana.
Y la Coyoacana. Okay.
Y todo derecho se llama la Calaca.
La Calaca. Okay, muchas gracias.
Claro, jefe.
Okay, so La Michoacana y La Caraca. What the hell is this? That's cool, pero yo quiero un lugar más con like barra. ¿Me entiendes? Sí.
De eso.
Okay, gracias. Muchas gracias.
Claro, jefe.
So, he said left here. Got a couple things. I think he said La Marque or something else. I forgot. That's one thing. It's hard when you are speaking another language. It's hard to like remember names that well. They don't stick in your head as well as like English names do. I found that I had that problem living in Vietnam as well, where it was difficult for me to remember like street names and things like that. Here's La Coyoacana. Let's try that out. The guy said that was a good place. I think he's probably right. Here's the outside of it. Let's see. Hola. Buenas tardes. Quiero tomar cerveza.
Claro. Este es para tu ropa.
Oh, okay.
Gracias.
All right.
¿Ustedes mesa aquí o en el carro? De este lado.
Mesa aquí está bien.
¿Sí? ¿O en el jardín?
Oh, en el jardín es mejor. Ah, it's a pretty nice restaurant. Hola, buenas. Yeah, okay. Aquí está bien.
¿El nombre de quién ponemos en mesa?
¿Nombre? ¿Mi nombre? Tyler. Yeah.
Bienvenido.
Gracias. So, here at the Michoacana. I was expecting more of like a cantina feel.
¿Qué cerveza le mandamos?
¿Qué tienen?
Tengo Corona, Victoria, León, Negra Modelo, Modelo Especial, Estela.
Let's go with Negro Modelo.
Claro.
Negro Modelo. One thing that you want to keep in mind when you're eating at a Mexican restaurant in Mexico, or even just having some drinks, that tipping is not required, but it's more of a tipping culture than somewhere like Vietnam, where you really are not expected to tip. Here it's not as high of an expectation as like America, where if you don't tip, you know, you're really making a statement about the like poor service, or you're just really a bad person. Here it sort of falls in the middle. I'd say if you don't want to like be kind of a jerk and not have a very good reputation, I'd say leave them at least like a 10-15% tip. Not required again, but it reflects a level of decency. All right, so we had our Negro Modelo and we're waiting for the bill, and then after that I'm going to go over to the Iglesia de San Juan Bautista. When I was in Playa del Carmen, one thing I didn't like was that they would, whenever you're at a restaurant or a bar, they would like already add the tip to the bill, so it was almost seemed like it wasn't optional. But here in Mexico City, pretty much everywhere is just giving me the bill straight up as it should be. And I'll be honest with you, I feel more encouraged and happier to leave a tip that way versus kind of being forced into it. Okay, cool. So the church should be open now. So let's go see what's up. The Iglesia de San Juan Bautista was a church commissioned by Hernan Cortes, the man responsible for overthrowing the Aztec Empire and solidifying Spanish control here in the Americas, specifically in Mexico. The church was built from the 1520s to the 1540s. This was directly after the Spanish takeover of the Aztecs here. And a hallmark of Spanish colonialism was trying to impart Catholic beliefs on the native people. Why did they do this? Well, their rationale was, we're trying to save these people and show them who the true God is, or what sort of religion they should believe in order to go to heaven or reach the afterlife. But who's really to say what religion is right and what religion is wrong? In my eyes, trying to impart Catholicism on these native people was less about trying to save them and more about trying to solidify their control. So let's check out the inside of this. Buenas tardes, ¿hablas inglés? No, quiero entrar a la iglesia, ¿está bien?
A la iglesia es por allá, pero abren hasta las 7 de la noche.
¿A las 7 de la noche?
Sí.
Oh, pensé que es 4, ¿no?
No, la abren a las 6, entre 6 y cuarto, 6 y media más o menos, y ya se queda abierta hasta la misa de 7.
Ah, ok. ¿Y qué es?
Estas son las oficinas nada más.
Ah, ok. Bueno, gracias.
De nada.
Okay, so the church is not open, and not open until like 7 p.m. I'm not trying to hang out here all day just to get into this church. I thought it was going to be open at 4, so I waited around for a couple hours. It's not. I'm not going to wait another few hours. Maybe I'll throw some copyright-free pictures of the church on the video for you guys, but from what I understand, it's a very beautiful church. And the main point is that there's many beautiful churches here in Mexico, and they were all built on that foundation of let's try to control the natives. ¿Qué es este instrumento?
Este instrumento es musical, es de Alemania, sí, con música mexicana.
Okay.
Son de 1800, por ahí está.
Sí.
Sí, o sea que acá enfrente traía una placa que decía Freite Berlín 72, Alemania.
Oh, wow.
Sí, entonces estos instrumentos tienen 600 años. Ahora tiene 200 años que los dejaron de hacer, ya no los fabrican. Creo que los fabrican en Chile y en Guatemala, pero nomás hacen la grabación.
Ah, sí.
Esto ya no hacen toda la caja, ya no.
Ah, interesante. ¿Y tú juegas este instrumento todos los días aquí?
Sí, todos los días. Yo de organillero llevo 30 años.
30 años aquí.
Sí, de organillero, sí, aquí en Coyoacan. Tercera generación, 111 años trabajando.
Ah, wow.
Gracias a Dios.
Qué bueno. ¿Y hay muchas personas de otros países que llevan aquí o
sea,
o llega aquí?
Sí, viene de todo el mundo y llega gente.
Sí.
Sí, pero pues ahora sí que no les gusta esta música. Es rara la gente que les gusta esta música.
Sí. Sí, es música de Europa, ¿sí?
No, es música mexicana.
Oh, es mexicana.
Es
ok,
música
pero
mexicana.
¿es de Alemania?
El instrumento es inventado en Alemania.
Ah, ok. Pero la música es de México.
Es mexicana.
Ah,
sí.
ok, muy bien. ¿Y de dónde eres?
Yo soy de aquí, de la Ciudad de México.
Ah, muy bien. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Bernardo, sí.
Bernardo, me llamo Tyler. Mucho gusto y que te vaya bien.
Gracias.
Ok. Muchas gracias.
Corre, papá. Corre.
All right, well, that's going to end our vlog about Coyoacan. Thanks for watching and thanks for hanging out. Just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. I'm happy to reply to you. And I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Peace.